I am Vinnie Tortorich. Folks, your good intentions have been stolen, but don't worry. I'm here to help you get them back. You may be soft and succulent at the beginning of this process, but hang in there. Before long, you will be lean and mean, guaranteed. Chris, you have any idea why that song came to mind?
I do not.
With our little preamble that we were doing, talking about, the remains of the day, the business, everything. You said, yeah, they got rid of that. Folks, we still on a daily basis, even though we got the company straight, we're like ducks, right? We're smooth on top of the water, but boy, we're paddling our asses off underneath. And Chris is telling me because we couldn't get answers about something because a woman that we were dealing with just got fired. And Chris goes, they're bringing in a new person. And I started thinking, meet the new boss, same as the old boss. And that's the words they use in the song. It's coming up later on in the song. But yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So the woman over at that company that we have to deal with, she's out. And I'm sure they're going to bring someone equally as bad right on in. And we'll have to deal with him or her. How you doing today, buddy?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I'm not complaining. After this, as you know, I'm doing back-to-back podcast. I'll go right into editing the, that's right, 1, 2, 3.
Just 3.
Yeah, and then I go right into editing and doing VO for the workouts, right? The fitness routines I'm putting together because they have to be right. So I don't want to wax on too much of those people that get them out there already. But you know me, they got to be perfect. I'm not going to put it out. I want people to really understand what I'm talking about. That's that. Does that make sense?
It does.
So what's on your mind today, Chris? Did you pull anything up? Anything I need to know about? Anything that's going to piss me off?
Oh, I got a little bit of everything for you.
Oh, boy.
Do you want to be pissed off or happy?
I would like to be happy, please.
Okay.
Happy, Jay, for 1,000.
Couple interesting things coming out, Vinny. You've said a bunch of different times, exercise is a poor way to lose weight, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So people have started diving in to why people don't like to exercise. Which,
okay. Do we really need a study on that? It's boring and it hurts. What else you got? People don't want to be bored and they don't want to be hurt. Move on, Chris. What do we got? Yeah. You see, now you're going.
It turns out that when you are working out, it warps your perception of time, making workouts feel longer. So the harder you work out, the longer it feels.
Okay. Did we need a study to figure that out? Did we need a study at all?
They say, oh yeah, I don't like going to the gym because, it feels like I'm there forever. Okay. Hard things are hard.
So Chris,
20 minutes is 20 minutes. An hour is an hour. Like, I don't get this.
Hang on. Let's say I got into a warm jacuzzi and let's say it's right at 101, 102, nice and warm, and it's snowing outside on the jacuzzi. You're getting the snow in the jacuzzi. You ever have one of those jacuzzis? You never want to get out, right? Like someone will say, hey, Vin, you need to get out. You've been in there for like an hour. You're gonna prune. You need to get out. It's like an hour. It feels like it's 2 seconds, right? Now, jump into a cold bath, right? That hurts. You're trying to get to 2 minutes, and at 30 seconds, you're going to the person with the watch in their hand. How long has it been? It's got to be 2 minutes. It's like 33 seconds. Oh, shit. How long now? It's got to be at least a minute. 48 seconds, right? It hurts. So perception changes. You get in a nice warm bath. An hour later, you're going, this isn't long enough. The only time this doesn't work is with oral sex. Because no matter how long it is, never long enough.
That may depend on if you're giving or receiving, but
you're right.
That's up to each
It's
person.
like you're looking at the watch going, Jesus Christ, I've been on here. I feel like I'm spelunking at this point. And then the other, that's wrong. My poor wife. And then the other way around is like, wait, that's it? And she was like, no, I was down here spelunking. What are you talking about? I got lost in this cave. But yeah, it's all perception.
Is it spelunking or spelunking?
I've already said spelunking. I'm from the South. That's what we say.
But I think you know what else distorts time, Vinny? Alcohol. Yeah. Right? That's why they have you do that backwards count test or the count estimation test, right? Where they're like, let me know when it's been 30 seconds. Yeah. It's all irrelevant. Like, that is not the reason people are not working out. It's not because it feels like it's a longer time. It's because you're doing something that is hard, right? This is not rocket surgery.
Right.
And so I don't understand, with all the Doge stuff going on, like, can we start funding things that at least make sense? We don't need to understand that the reason people aren't going to the gym is because workouts feel like a long time. 20 minutes is 20 minutes. An hour is an hour. That is not the reason people are not going to the gym. Oh, I don't have enough time. Might be an excuse, but it's not because of the distortion of time that you're not going to the gym. You don't say, I have an hour, and you get to the gym. You say, man, it feels like it's been an hour and a half. Don't know what I'm going to do with the rest of my day.
Anything that you do outdoors seems to take less time than indoors. I'm going to give 3 examples. Running on a treadmill, riding an indoor bike, rowing, right? The rowing machine, 5 minutes takes 5 hours, right? You're going and you look down, it's like, I must have been going 10 minutes at this point. You look down, it's like 2.5 minutes. That's it? Jesus Christ. Now, when I'm on the water rowing, I'll be at the end of the reservoir already going, wait, I'm here already? That's a 30-minute ride from where I start to get to the end of the reservoir. And then, I'll go back and then go up the stream. It's like, geez, I've been out here an hour and a half. And it doesn't feel like a workout because you're enjoying the scenery, you're in the boat, you're doing so. Same with the bicycle. People say, how do you, when I used to stay on the bike on rainy days or whatever, on a Saturday, I'd stay on the bike 6, 7, 8 hours. How can you do it? I would turn on the television and watch movie after movie after movie. Sometimes I get to the end of the 3rd movie and go, all right, one more movie, and then I'm going to get off the bike, right? 3 movies, 4 movies, you're looking at 8 hours. I know that sounds crazy to be on the spinner, but it's almost impossible. I'll give you a different example. My buddy was one of those guys that rowed a boat across the Atlantic. And it was in Talisker did a thing from England to, I don't know, Canary. I don't know where in the hell they went to. But it was a 2,000-mile open water. You're out there for 2,000 miles. And my buddy, he was doing this cold. He didn't know anything when he started. It was like a 2-year mission that he was on, and he entered this race with another guys, 2 guys per boat. And along the way, he found their version of a Marine over in England. And he said, hey, what's the most important thing to do? He said, okay, one night, get on your treadmill, get on your rowing machine, have a bucket next to you to pee, and have your water, set up your water right next to you where you can grab it. Turn out the lights. Think about this, Chris. Cause deprivation, get in a pitch black room, and then start rowing. Now, the only thing he had to put tape because it was, a concept tube. He had to put black tape over the thing so you can't see how long you're going, right? He said, do that and row until you think you got 8 hours in. And really try, you get so disoriented. The first time he did it, He thought he was at 12 hours and he was just under 4 hours. He did the exercise several times until he was actually able to get 8 hours in, right? Your brain has to go places. You want to talk about deprivation. That's what, Green Berets, SEAL Team 6, those guys are all about deprivation and getting by and becoming comfortable with it, right? Go on.
That's something that's interesting. Are you familiar with Hell Week?
Yeah.
It's interesting to me, and I have a handful of friends that are in different special forces branches. I have a couple friends that are Rangers, a couple friends that are in the SEAL, right? Just all over the place. And the thing that's interesting about all of those programs is it's not the most physically fit person that gets through that.
Right.
Right? I mean, yes, don't get me wrong, it helps. It definitely doesn't hurt. And if you're Private Tubbo Lard, you're probably not getting through that program. But there are a lot of people who make it through that program that, looking at them, at least when they go in to BUDS or they go into basic training for the Army or wherever else, you would go, there's no way that guy's getting through special forces training.
Yeah.
And it turns out that most of Hell Week, yes, there's the physical component to it, but it's designed specifically to destroy you mentally. And if you can overcome that, then the physical stuff comes along for the ride, right? You're never alone. You're never by yourself. You're there with your team. And basically everything is a team exercise outside of, running or a pull up, right? And so the entire point of it is for you to understand that you can overcome those challenges and to break you down and see who will quit and who will keep going. And if you can't do that to yourself for 30 minutes in the gym, there's some other things going on, right? You don't have to have 72 hours with no sleep to understand that you can start to push those boundaries. Just get into the gym, and then the time warp doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Every time I've heard any of the people interviewed on, podcast or radio or read books and the whole thing, they say exactly that. The guys that are built like modern day Rambos, when they come in, they've never had a hard day in their life, right? They were the captain of the football team. They were the alpha male in school and just kicked ass in life, right? This is the first time life is kicking their ass, and they start ringing that bell early. The guys that kind of had sand kicked in their face and wanted to really go for it. And by the way, you don't just show up. You gotta go through basic training of the regular Marines. It's coming. So all these guys have been through basic, which is no easy feat, but they've been through that, right? And your basic guy that's been through 2-a-days in football can get through that. But BUDS and SEAL Team and Green Berets, they pick up where that leaves off. And it's just a fucking mental game. It is just a crazy mental game. And they break them. And the ones that, the wimpy ones are the ones that stay. The guys that are ripped up like Stallone and Rambo First Blood Part 3 are the first to go. That was a lot of First Blood Part 3, first to go. Okay. Almost confused myself. But yeah, that's the way life works, right? The meek in that situation inherits the earth, right? They've figured it out. They have figured it out. And life is like that. I get it. The gym is there for a reason. I always say, if I could go back to the early 1900s and meet my great grandfather and tell him, hey, great grandpa, I just came from 2025. And he would say to me in his broken English, what's it like? And I would say, well, every day I go to this place. It's called the gym. And, okay. And what happens there? It's like, well, there's a lot of heavy weight. There's a lot of metal, a lot of steel. And I go there and I lift it. And my great grandfather would go, my God, what kind of money do you get paid for that? I go, no, grandpa, you don't understand. I pay them for the privilege, right? we've had to create, and I was just talking about this in a podcast the other day with this woman. I talked about her on the Monday show too. It's that woman that came through you, Sharon Berquist, right?
Mhm.
Had a great, her whole thing is about stress and putting stress on your body and how much stress you can take, and not putting your body in distress, right? That's a bad kind of stress, but creating stressors, right? The good stress, the EU stress, the SU stress, EU sweat, and SU stress. That's what she's talking about, right? We don't have enough of that. And we got into it. We talked about, at one time it was helicopter parents. They would let the kids go. They would hover. They would hover. If the kids were getting ready to make a mistake, the parent would swoop in and fix the mistake. And that was bad enough. And then we started with the snowplow and the lawnmower parents. Do you know what those
I
are?
I mean, I kind of get it from the name, but that's a
They
new
just
one. It's
the
not terminology I
no
use.
adversity, they just clear a path. The kid does not have to walk through it. That kid will never. If you put that kid on the Ho Chi Minh Trail back in the day, he would die on the second step. Right? They didn't know they don't know how to navigate anything. Right? And that's part and parcel of what we're talking about. Yeah, when you're doing exercise, it hurts. Duh. How much? They didn't need a study. If they had given me $50, I would have given them the answer.
50?
Yeah.
I probably would have given them that one for free just to see what else they come back with. Like, hey, does it feel like work when you're doing work? Yeah. Okay. The other argument I would make here, Vinny, are you familiar with the concept of flow state? So
Mm.
like you get into something and everything just clicks, right? Maybe you sit down to shoot a video or you're doing something like working on the train and time flies by, right? You get that time warp and everything is just kind of cruising along the way that
Right,
you
right.
want
I
it
didn't
to.
know there was a term for that. Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that feeling. Yeah.
That causes that same effect, but you don't have the negative association with it. Why do we assume that that's a negative thing? Right? Like time dilation is not necessarily a negative thing. It could be that I'm enjoying myself at the gym and I've lost the concept of time. Right? It's not that it's better or worse. It's just something that happens and it happens in a lot of places in life. It's easier to happen when you're doing hard work at the gym because you're already firing a lot of the things that your body needs to push you into flow state. And you are, in the words of Doug McGuff, trying not to get killed by a lion, right? Like you're making sure you can fight off that next thing that's going to come attack you. Your body rewards you for that. So if we can ignore the fact that it might feel longer than it is and just get into the gym and do the stuff, then you get all of the positive results out of it. Vinny,
Yeah. Go
I got
on.
two more for you. I
Okay.
got one more that I think you're going to laugh at, and then one that I think is pretty cool, both on exercise. Did you know, Vinny? This is another study that we paid for, published March 26th, 2025. So published today. Exercise improves quality of life.
Wait a minute. So what you're trying to tell me is, let's try this again.
Mhm. I'll take it slow for you.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Because I think it went by so fast. I got whiplash. My head got knocked. You saw my head go. Phew.
Yeah. Exercise improves perceived quality of life,
Perceived.
the overall enjoyment of life, right?
But you're saying
So
perceived. So
let me double check because they say two different things, two different places. Uh, it's self-assessed, so they're not using health markers, right? But it's how people feel about their life, both professionally and privately.
again, did we need a study?
Apparently, because we followed 384 nurses for a year
Mhm.
and had them either do or not do exercise, and then looked at how well they felt about their overall quality of life, both in the workplace and at home.
Hmm.
Moderate physical activity positively associated nurses' professional quality of life and enhanced, I'm not sure what this means, compassion satisfaction. It also enhanced their overall feeling of well-being. Who knew that if you got up and did something hard, Vinny, that you might feel a little bit better?
Well, we've known for a long time. Look, one of the biggest problems is when we started cutting recess out at schools, right? Kids' test scores went down. Kids need to run around. I've had doctors on this show talk about it. When parents started handing every kid a note to get out of PE, that became a problem. That's why I've often said on this show, please, government, RFK, you want to bring back your uncle's physical fitness test? I would work on that for free. And Chris, you and I, if I knew that they would accept, I would pull it together and then go with, you and I could pull something together. I'd send it to them. But we're so damn busy doing everything else. But if they called on me and said, hey, would you go to Washington and reenact the physical fitness test and get it back in schools? That would be the last thing I would fight for that until my dying day, because it's so important. And we've lost that, man. Kids, I see these kids now, man. They're playing video games. They're looking at a phone all the time. It is not good. It is not good. I've been on a phone diet, as you know, for the past few weeks. First week, I was like at an hour and, I don't know, 10 minutes total. And then I got down to 50 something minutes and then 40 minutes, I think, last week. I tweeted it out.
You're
Was
spending more time trying to find how much time you're spending on your phone than you're spending on your phone.
Well, I'm doing. Well, you want to see where I am this week? You want me to just plunk it down, show it to you? Watch, I'm going to be up or something. That's going to piss me off.
Most used app, screen time.
Okay. Can you see
23
it?
minutes.
23 minutes. Okay. That's on average since Sunday. Today, we're recording this on Wednesday. So 4 days in, I'm averaging 23 minutes a day. And you see how much I text you during the day. All of that time is texting or, something to do with work, right? 23 minutes. I was up to almost 3 hours, and I used the excuse that I was working. Oh, Vin, you work on the phone all day. Well, I started noticing, and I hate to sound crass and crude and everything else. I'd jump on the toilet like everyone else. Used to be on the toilet, off the toilet, move on. I'm sitting there scrolling. And even though I don't scroll,
Body
I would
body.
death scroll for 20 minutes, I would death scroll for like a minute or two and then catch myself and go, or, I couldn't watch a television program anymore without going, what happened to that dude? Put it on hold, go look him up. Oh, look, there's a Wikipedia. Oh, he died in 98 of colon cancer at 43. And then, oh, wait, he was married to so-and-so? What's she doing? She's dead? Yeah. And then it leads on to other stuff. And then I would go back to the program, right? All of that is gone. You know what I'm doing with television now? Whenever I watch a movie, I'm enjoying the movie again. As a matter of fact, if I'm not waiting for a call from you or a business call, the phone's not next to me. It's away from me. I was getting into that thing of I would get in my car, and while I'm starting my car, look at the phone. Look at the phone. Look at the phone. To the tune of almost 3 hours a day. And the actuality is, I thought the actuality was 1 hour. I thought I was 2/3 down. And then it was 49 minutes. And now this week I'm at 23 minutes. Now, I haven't used my rowing machine. My rowing machine drives it up a lot. So maybe by the end of the week, it'll be back up to 48, 49 minutes because when I put an app on for my rowing machine so I can have extra, So that's what drives it up to 49. right?
Even still, that's not terrible. And I think you and I looked at it. It's like 8 hours plus was the average that we were seeing. And
No,
so
I think it was 7 hours it was under 8 hours, which is 100 days out of your year, night and day, folks. 24 hours a day, 124-hour days, just looking at your phone. And when you think about it, oh, it's even worse than that. So look at 7 hours as being almost 1/3 of your day. Another 1/3 of your day, you're sleeping, right? So another 100 days are gone to sleep just because you're unconscious. So literally, you are living life to the tune of 165 days per year. And if you take work out of the equation, time traveling to work, time traveling home, you're doing nothing else. You're doing zero, right?
well,
And
then
this is
then you add in bathroom time and you're doing less than zero. You're moving backwards.
right. But they would say, well, I use my phone on the toilet. Well, you're on the toilet for 8 hours every day? How does that work? So I didn't even think of this before. You're sleeping 8 hours, you're using the phone almost 8 hours, you're down to 165 days a year, or 160, 130 something days, 133 days a year or less and in most of that time, let's say you work an 8 hour day, how much time did you actually enjoy your life? And if you tell me my enjoyment is playing with my phone, fuck you. You're wrong. You're not enjoying yourself. You're addicted to something. And I'm not saying fuck you, fuck you. I'm saying that is a poor excuse because I know Chris is a gamer. So God only knows how much time he spends. Aren't you a gamer? I thought you were a
Very
gamer.
casually, like once
Uh,
in a very blue moon.
I thought you were a gamer for some reason.
Eh,
I don't know why I
I don't
thought
have
that.
the I don't have the time for that. If I had the time for it, maybe. Um, but pulling rabbits out of hats, that gives me all the reward that I need at this point. Like we have a Nintendo here, but I don't know when I don't think, Vinny, to tell you how long it's been. It's plugged into the TV, but we
Mm.
haven't turned it on since we moved into this house.
And that's been
Uh,
months. Yeah.
October,
Yeah.
right? So just a few months. Um, but I think that's the other thing, and I know we didn't intend to have a screen time conversation, but I think it is important to have things you do throughout your day. And you and I were talking about this on the phone the other night, actually. Um, I've started getting in the habit of after I'm done with work for the day, and I work from home, you work from home, so
Hmm.
it's harder to unplug than it is if you work in an office. But people who work in offices fall victim to this as well. If I'm done for the day, my phone stays in my office because if it
Yeah.
doesn't, then I'll be looking at things from you. I'll be checking Twitter. I'll be doing a whole bunch of things, and I'll go, "Oh, what was that one thing I forgot to do at 11:30 this morning?
Yeah.
Yeah, I should probably do that right now." And I'll just do it on my phone, which is not nearly as efficient as walking back into my office for 30 seconds and waking up my computer and doing it that way, right? It takes me 10 minutes to do it on the phone or 30 seconds to do it from the computer. It has made a huge difference in sleep quality. It's made a huge difference in being present. And I think you don't have to leave your phone somewhere to do that, but having a few moments throughout the day where you are doing something that intentionally doesn't involve a screen. And it's not just the phone. The phone is the easy thing to blame. But you and I are
Yeah.
sitting here staring at each other through the internet. That's screen time too, but not in the same way, right? This is a much more controlled thing. But I think
Trust
even
me, I would
something
not be here if this is not what I did for a living.
right.
I wouldn't.
Who would
I
want to
would.
look at me? Uh, but even scheduling just a few things throughout your day, right? Like Michelle and I go out every morning between 5:30 and 6 and take the dogs for a walk in the mountains. There's no reason for me to take my phone because one, nobody's bothering me at that hour. And two, there's no service anyway. So what's the what's the
Right.
point?
Why
Right?
do it?
I can look at a black rectangle, but it's something that we set up intentionally as a way to have some time where there's nothing else involved and you get that little checkout moment, right? So I don't think, we don't need to rant and rave much about screen time, but I did have one more on exercise, Vinny,
All right.
if you're ready. And this is a good one. Exercise boosts memory across all ages. Both brain function and accessible memory are boosted by exercise, including something like yoga or Tai Chi. And the people who had the most benefit were people who were diagnosed previously with ADD or ADHD.
I believe that wholeheartedly. Um, I was just talking about that. Test scores went down when we cut out recess and PE. I've had doctor after doctor cite studies on that. It's the worst thing we could do, especially keeping boys pent up, right? Kids have to get out and run around. Boys, girls, everything. I found out, like, I had trouble paying attention in math when I was a kid. And one day I was acting up. And the nun told me, go stand in the back of the room, as my punishment. I remember this as clear as yesterday. And I went back there and I started kind of pacing back and forth, pacing here, pacing there. And she's up at the board teaching math, subject I hated for whatever reason. I found it boring when I was a kid. I started understanding it. I understood it more and more when I was just walking a little bit on my feet, right? I had the wherewithal. I don't think I was any further than fifth grade, maybe sixth grade. I don't know when, about 11 or 12. I went to the nun and I said, Sister, listen, when I was standing back there, I understood better. I really understood. And I said, can I try that again tomorrow? And she said, yeah. And for the most part, she gave me a desk because my desk, I would always get a desk in the front of the classroom. I was that kid. I wanted to be right in front, right? Because I like to pay attention. I found I was able to pay attention. So whenever I found myself daydreaming or not really paying attention to math, I would stand up and she would allow it. And I would just kind of pace back and forth quietly. I wasn't making a spectacle of myself. And I did really well. Now, most kids won't notice that about themselves. I don't know why I did, but I noticed that it was real, right? All I had to do was move around a little bit or stand up. And all of a sudden, I wasn't daydreaming anymore. So I learned that just by rote, just by I'm doing this, right? And the nun allowed me to do it. Today, a teacher would go, you're disruptive. We need to put you on ADHD medicine, you name it, right?
God forbid you ask a question. You have oppositional defiance disorder because you say, are you sure?
If those drugs were around when I was a kid, they would have had me on every drug, every single drug. They would have been, you know what, just shoot him up with, let's dope him up, put him on, just knock him out. They would have put me on, what's that stuff Michael Jackson died from? the medicine they use to knock you out when you have an operation. It's a sodium. Propofol, yeah. Yeah. They would have had me on propofol in today's world because I couldn't sit still. Right? Some teachers thought I was dumb.
No. That propofol is old. Now they'd give you fentanyl, right?
Oh, good.
Then you could die like Prince.
Yeah, I could just die. I just, But look, I mean, I think I told you this. I told my mom. I said, Ma, I don't know how to read well. And she goes, what are you talking about? And I was like, well, I was like in ninth grade. I was like, we do history, right? And the nun goes, all right, read the next 2 pages and then we're going to discuss, right? You ever teach you do that? Read the next 2 pages, we're going to discuss. So
That's the
Everybody,
I didn't have a lesson plan. Like, oh yeah, just go ahead, read the next
well,
two.
yeah. So we would read them, and then everyone else would be sitting there going, and the number goes, everyone done? And I would go, no, I need another minute. And everybody, and now I'm self-conscious because I still have a half a page to go, and they're all sitting there, right? So I tell this to my mom, and my mom had gone to school. My mom had like 3 masters plus 30 hours towards all these different teaching things. So every professor at Nicholls State and LSU knew my mom, right? She had been the darling. She never stopped going to college. Every summer she went to college, even after she became a school teacher. She loved school, right? So my mom goes, I know this woman in Baton Rouge, and she has a clinic, and she's an authority on, reading. So I never told you the story, Chris. So they sent me to the school, to this thing, not a school. It's, I go in, and I'm like a sophomore or something, right? And they give me this battery of tests. And they said, okay, we're going to do these tests, and we're going to, we're going to call you. So they called me and my mom and my dad. They wanted to see all of us, like about a week later. And I'm like, oh shit. They're going to tell me I need to be in the special ed class. Like, I'm ready. It's like, I'm a great football player. Are they going to kick me off the team? I don't know what's going to happen. I was really concerned. And the woman goes, listen, we have to give him the test again, because the test score, something screwed up with the test, and we have to do it again. Now I'm thinking, I'm so fucking stupid that I screwed up the test.
I didn't score high enough to register on the test.
Right. And they were trying to be nice because my mom, my dad's a professor, my mom, this and that, the whole thing. So I'm like, all right. So I take the test again. Then they call me and my parents back in again. Now, I cannot remember the exact numbers, right? But they said, okay, we gave him a completely different test. So there's no way he could have cheated from the first test. So the whole idea was reading comprehension. So they give you something to read, and then you have to answer a battery of questions. And even on short-term memory, the average person remembers 63 to 68%, right? And then someone after that, like the smarter ones read, they remember, like, they can regurgitate 70 some odd percent. I think like 80 means you're off the charts or something like that, right? And we went, okay, my mom goes, where did Vinnie land? And she goes, well, first off, he's the slowest reader. And I'm thinking to myself, here we go.
I knew it.
She goes, he's the slowest reader that's ever come through the program. And I'm like, right? Come on. I've been trying to tell you guys this. I'm slow. I need to be going to the special class, right? And she goes, but the reason we gave him the test again was because we thought he got lucky on the answers on the first test.
It took him so long to read it. There's no way he could have comprehended it. I love that.
It turns out that when I read, and it's still like this today, I have to read every word, and it somehow imprints in my brain, which means, I have a photographic memory for what I read, right? I scored like 97 or 98%. It's like no one's ever scored higher than a 91 on this thing. And the first time he scored 96, and the second time he scored 97. So we learned one thing. I'm never going to read fast, but boy, all I have to do is read it, and regurgitate it on a test. That's why I made the dean's list 7 out of 8 semesters at Tulane while playing a D1 sport. Because all I had to do, professor could talk about whatever he wants. Hand me the book. I'm just going to go read the book and then I'm going to regurgitate it for you. That's the way it works for me. I'm lucky and I'm unlucky at the same time. And by the way, at 62 years old, I still, when a chyron comes up, whenever there's a language on television, sometimes I have to stop it because I can't read it fast enough. They pull it down too fast. Right? So it's a curse and it's a blessing at the same time.
So you're not a fan of like the Sports Center ticker? You're like, what was that? It was 7 what?
I have trouble when I'm watching football on television. Now, this is the crazy part. When I was on the football field, I could see everything. I know where the player's going. I know what's happening. This guy moved that way. That guy. When I'm watching football on television, I'm trying to watch that. And they got the little ticker there showing that they still got 3 seconds to hike the ball. And they're putting up stats and everything else. It fucks me up in ways you cannot imagine because there's too much coming at my brain all at once. It's the reason why I can't be in crowds. You know, I freak out in crowds, right? That's why I don't go anywhere. I get really freaked out. I can walk on stage because I'm away from the crowd. And I can talk forever. That's why I'm good at speeches. But now if I have to go do meet and greet, I'm sweating, I'm uncomfortable, I'm laughing and doing all the things I have to do. But as soon as I could get out of it, you want to talk about something that feels like 10 hours for me. It's pain.
It's not going to the gym. It's
Oh, the gym I go at a time of day where it's like me and 3 other people. Literally. There's nobody else in the gym. They're all at work. Me, Matthew, there's a guy named Don, and there's a woman named Judy. You know they're all old because they have names like Matthew, Don, and Judy. That's their real names.
And you know all of their names. That's the
right? Yeah, because
like
they're the
same 4 people. Yeah.
And they're all, well, Don is 75. Judy is my age. And Matthew is my age. So we would have all probably hung out in high school. Right? That's it. That's all I know. Crazy, right?
That's great.
But yeah, exercise, I get it. Exercise does make you smarter.
Who knew? Right? Oh, wait, we knew this. And I think the thing that really stood out to me and the reason that I pegged this to have a conversation with you about was the ADD thing. And you brought up earlier the fact that we got rid of recess, we got rid of all of these things, but that need doesn't go away, right? If you have an insane level of ADD like I do, you need that. And I see a change within, and now in this study, Vinny, they're saying to get the most out of this, you start to see it between 2 and 3 months of consistent exercise. They're not talking about going to the gym, right? I listed like yoga, Tai Chi. I think they said even a brisk walk, right? It's low intensity exercise is what they were studying here. And even that gives you the benefits. But if I don't get out of the house for 2 or 3 days, I'm climbing the walls and distracted by literally everything. My mental capacity goes to 0. As soon as I do something hard, I have that ability to focus because you're burning off that extra. You're not burning off the energy. That's the wrong way of saying it, but you understand where I'm going with that, right? Like you're getting rid of that sensation by forcing yourself to do something hard. And then you can actually use the brain power that you have. It's not that it necessarily makes you smarter. It just frees up the resources, right? You remember defragging hard drives back in the day?
No.
You used to have to run a program to clean up your hard drive.
Oh, yeah, I remember. I didn't realize.
Right?
Yeah.
It was like the colored blocks, and it would run for like a day and a half. That's what you're doing in your brain, right? You're just shaking everything loose by getting a little bit of exercise in. And I think it's not the thing that's going to make you lose all of the weight, but it gives you all of these side benefits, right? It gives you longevity. It gives you better quality of life, at least if you're a nurse. it gives you the ability to free up those mental resources to do whatever it is that you want to do in your life. And if you can get over the time dilation thing, where 20 minutes feels like 30 minutes, oh darn, then you can start to realize all of the benefits of it without much work or effort even on your part.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I had a girlfriend back in New Orleans. She was a Channel 6 newswoman for 6 and 10 o'clock news, Lynn Ganser. And because of her, we used to get all these free trips to go, like to islands and, all this kind of stuff. Not islands to restaurant, like Jamaica, Aruba, Cayman Islands and all this stuff. And, I never used to drink at all back then, like zero, like total teetotaler. And we go to the island and it was like, hey, we can go for a massage and we can lay out and relax. You've been working hard and this and all. By noontime, I was out of my fucking mind. And then I started noticing when we would take these long weekends to go do this, we would always get into an argument, sometimes an out and out fight. Right. And I was like, we never fight at home. We love each other's company. We laugh at each other's stupid jokes. We were both kind of nerdy people, right? But we go on these trips, and not only would we fight, I would pick the fight. And I knew this about myself. And one time, I knew I was coming back from this, and I had to go to Aspen to go train people in Aspen, right? So I said, we're going to Grand Cayman. I'm going to bring my jump rope just so I can do something. I'll just jump for 45 minutes to an hour a day. This is back in a day when there was no gyms, right? And we were staying in a condo. We weren't staying in a hotel. They didn't even have hotels back in the early 80s or mid 80s. And so I brought a jump rope. Guess what didn't happen on that trip? Not one argument, not one fight. And that's where I started figuring out it's the exercise. I'm not made to sit around and just do nothing, right? That's not for me. It's not.
I don't think it's for anybody. We just condition ourselves to do that. And right, we've heard the sitting is the new smoking. And if you just sit a little bit less, then you're able to live longer, right? Okay. It's very easy and very comfortable to sit all the time. But if you're able to get over that time dilation and you're able to actually pay attention to what's going on and spend just a little bit of time, you don't have to exercise like you do, Vinny, to get that same benefit. But you do have to do something. You do have to pay attention to it, and you do have to make it a part of your actual routine. Whether it's doing, 10,000 steps before 10 a.m., whether it's going to the gym, whatever that thing is to clear your mind and get everything flowing again, you have to make a conscious effort to make that part of everyday life. And I think vacation is a very easy way to get off that track, right? Hotels have gyms, but no one is ever in them because they're on vacation. So they're going to work out when they get back, right? I paid my gym today. I know that I'm going to be on a trip before that month is up, right? I'm going to be gone for a few days.
Right.
And it will expire actually while I'm gone because I pay month to month. I just pay cash at my gym and I'm good. So, I really don't want to lose out on those like 3 or 4 days. So maybe I'll just wait. This is 4 weeks away or 3.5 weeks away.
Right.
Why? But I had that conversation this morning over $20, right? It's like, oh, well, if I wait until I come back, then I get the extra 4 days out of it. Guess what? Where I'm going, there's also going to be a gym that I can use. So I can still get that workout in. And yes, I'm not getting every cent of that $20 out of it, but you have to get over that portion of it and just say, look, I'm just going to do it now, because if not now, when? You're always going to find a reason to push, just like everything else, right? I'm going to start my diet on Monday. No, start it now. I'm going to start going to the gym on Monday. No, go to the gym today or jump rope or do something. Just do anything and you'll start to notice the difference.
Yeah. And look, I'm already planning for the weekend because I have Cajuns that will be descending on Charlottesville tomorrow
Oh.
at around 12. Two of my brothers, one of my sister-in-laws, and two of their friends who I'm good friends. Yeah, I'm not good friends, but I met them enough time that I like this couple, Mark and Rachel. And so 5 of them are coming, right? And I'm like, shit, man, these people love to eat and they love to have a drink whenever they're not working, right? So they're going to be looking to eat and drink. Now, I can work my way around food. You know that. I've figured out every which way not to fall into the trap. But I started thinking about the workout, right? So today would have been a day when I would have done aerobics, but I didn't. I went to the gym and did leg day. Tomorrow, I'm going to do a push day because they're not getting here until noontime. And I could get some work done in the morning. I can go through all the people. Oh, by the way, did we get to that guy? There's a guy. Remind me after this. There's a guy we got to talk about.
Mhm.
Please don't let me forget. Write it down, Chris.
I got you.
So it's like, all right, tomorrow I can do push. So now I'm not going to miss tomorrow. And you see, they're leaving Monday morning. So tomorrow's Thursday. I'll get that push workout in. And then I'm going to wake up early, come down into my gym and do my rowing, my bike, the whole thing, get an aerobic on Friday. Right. I'm guessing they're going to be sitting back on my patio having drinks or something Friday night. They're not going to wake up early, but I will. Right. I'll come slink down to my gym and do pull day. See? And then maybe Sunday, I think we're going to go somewhere Sunday and do something. That's fine. Right. I'll just take the day off. So people will go, oh, I had company in town. I had guests, and, it's just Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday. That's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Monday. It's 5 days. I'm going to miss one workout. And I've already planned that workout to be
2,
missed.
3, right? Depending on how you do your rest days, but 2 to 3 workouts is what you would miss in that time period otherwise, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I thought about it ahead of time. This is when they're coming. This is when I can slip away without anyone noticing me missing, and I can get back. By the time they're brushing their teeth after eating their bacon and eggs or whatever, I'm back, ready to rock and roll. Right?
Vinny, is there anything better first thing in the morning than the smell of cooked bacon?
Yeah. Cooked bacon with a hint of coffee rolling in and out.
I lost it the other day because one of my neighbors at like 5:15 must have cooked 4 pounds of bacon.
And it was wafting through your window.
Oh my God. I opened the door because we went up, we were going to go up into the mountains and I was like, I hate you so much right now.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to go do something hard without having eaten yet. And you're sitting here cooking bacon.
Yeah.
It's just wrong.
Yeah.
I would say the best part of waking up is definitely not having Folgers. It would be bacon and some Pure Coffee Club honey process. Shameless plugs all around.
Yeah. That's why when vegans go, oh yeah, the guy next door was barbecuing and it was upsetting me. Nobody's upset by barbecue. Don't even pretend. I get it. You're trying to pretend meat is murder and everything. Don't, please. Bacon, barbecue, it smells good to every human. Period. You've chosen not to do it. That's your problem. No one else's. Right?
I love when you say things that relate to things that I already have pulled up.
Oh boy.
we're not going to dive into it, but I found a study that they just released this week, Vinny, of vegan alternatives. And the way I found it was these vegan meat brands taste almost as good as the real thing. First of all, that's a real hedge in the headline. Taste tests prove it. They did a breakdown, and I have the breakdown. I just went to look up bacon because they did a vegan bacon versus a regular bacon. No one liked it.
Right.
Do you know what a SWOT analysis is?
No.
Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities.
Yeah.
So there's a handful of products that they're saying are close. The weaknesses for the plant-based alternative was weird aftertaste, cardboard, bland, tastes like soy, tastes like dirt. Some opportunities where they can improve the flavor: smoky, fatty, salty, savory, and pork.
So put pork in your vegan product and it's going to taste better.
Who
There
knew?
you go. Go figure.
Or your turkey bacon.
We couldn't
Right.
see that coming. Chris, it ain't going to get any better than that.
I love it. I love it.
All right. So, Chris, we got 2 songs at the end of the show today. So hang
Let's
with
do it.
me because we're going to talk about these 2 songs as we go through them. I'm interested to know if you know either one of these. You know what to do, folks. Rate and review this podcast. Before you go to Amazon, go to VinnieTortorich.com, click through the banner. It puts coal on the fire, gets my train down the track, and it doesn't cost you a dime. On behalf of Chris Shaffer, we're going to start with this song by Morris Day and The Time.